Hey, Dan, Coach Miller here with NorCal Sports Network with another video. This time it's on Edwin Diaz of the New York Mets as a free agent. And the question is, could the San Francisco Giants sign Edwin Diaz to be their closer? Before we get into that, let us thank our sponsor, Chapman Law Group. Chapman Law Group, located in Marin, licensed in all of California. Give Chapman Law Group a call for all your legal needs, especially if you got a personal injury situation. They specialize in that. Give David Chapman and his group a call at 415-613-9483. Remember, if they take the case and they don't get you any dollars, and they don't get you a victory, they don't charge a dime, okay? So give them a call. It's the consultation's free. And for personal injury, it's, they get you the money or you don't pay. So give them a call. They're good at what they do. All right. That is Chapman Law Group, guys. Edwin Diaz, free agent closer. Let's get into this. Could the San Francisco Giants, or should the San Francisco Giants sign Edwin Diaz? All right. Sporting the new Giants hat that just came today. It's got the 1958 on the side since 1958. I'm kind of liking this Fanatics hat. Nice flex hat, fits well. But Edwin Diaz, coming off a great year with the New York Mets, he wants 5 years. He wants 5 years, and he's going to command in the neighborhood of probably $18 to $20 million a year. And I think that's going to be a little too rich for the San Francisco Giants. His value on Spot Track is a 4-year deal at $73 million and change, a little over $18 million per year. We're seeing closers. Ryan Helsley got a 2-year deal at $14 million. We're seeing some other closers come off the board in that range, 14, 15 million. I don't think the Giants are going to go over 3 years. The Mets are proposing 3 years. That's the hangup. And the Mets have signed now Devin Williams. I think the Giants would love to have an Edwin Diaz, but not at 5 years, probably not even at 4 years. If the Giants were to sweeten the pot and maybe pay for 3 seasons of Edwin Diaz and paid a higher dollar amount, they might have a shot at him. But I think they'd have to go up to, $22 million a year to beat the Mets and pay him, $65, $66 million for 3 years. I think that's the only way the Giants would be able to maybe get Edwin Diaz. But I think here's the story. Edwin Diaz is a very solid reliever. And by the way, guys, as I do this video on Edwin Diaz, I'm going to break this into parts. I'm going to be talking about Edwin Diaz in the first part. Second part, I'm going to tell you what I think the Giants should and could do when it comes to pitching, because they need starting pitching and they need relievers. Now, the question is, do they spend all the money and go after an Edwin Diaz? I personally don't see it. I don't think they're going to go there. They've already said they're not going to the top of the market with starting pitching, so that ruled out Tatsuya Imai, Ranger Suarez, Framber Valdez. It's taking all those top pitchers off the market. So how does that play out in terms of the relievers? And specifically, we're talking about Edwin Diaz. Edwin Diaz has had a fantastic career. He didn't have the greatest 2024 statistically. If you look at his numbers here, Edwin Diaz, in 25, he was fantastic. He had 28 saves, and he had a 1.63 ERA. He appeared in 62 games. He pitched 66 in the third innings and only gave up 12 earned runs all year long, 4 home runs, had 98 strikeouts in those 66 and a third innings. So pretty impressive. In 24, his ERA was a little bit bloated at 3.5, and he only was in 40 games. Remember, he didn't play at all in 23 because he hurt himself in the World Baseball Classic and was out the whole season. So he didn't get a full season in 2024, but he had a really nice bounce back last year. And if you look at him in 22, he was incredible. He had a similar season in 22, even 62 innings pitched. He even had more strikeouts, 118. This guy's a strikeout machine, striking out well over a batter an inning, closer to 1.7, 1.8 batters per inning. So Edwin Diaz is a phenomenal closer, and he would be great in San Francisco. They need a big time closer, but I don't think the Giants are going to go there when it comes to an Edwin Diaz. Like I said, I think the only way that Diaz would be a San Francisco Giant is if he agreed to a 3-year deal with a little bit higher AAV. I can't see the Giants going over 3 years for anyone. So on the front of Edwin Diaz, I think he ends up possibly with the New York Mets. Here's what I see happening. The Mets want to offer him a 3-year deal. They signed Devin Williams yesterday, and they've got him. Devin Williams is best suited, in my opinion, as an 8th inning guy. He can close, and the Mets have a fallback, so they have some leverage on Edwin Diaz. It depends if Diaz gets a 5-year deal somewhere else. If Diaz gets a 5-year deal, maybe the Mets fold. If he gets that 5-year deal, somebody else is offering him. Could the LA Dodgers go after Edwin Diaz? They have the money. They're losing Michael Conforto, Clayton Kershaw, and a couple other guys. So they definitely have the money. We'll see what the Dodgers do. We know they're going to add a closer. They're just going to have to. But the Mets, I think, settle with Edwin Diaz on a 4-year deal. I think he gets a 4-year deal right around, $75 million. Could even push it up to 80. That could be the compromise. $20 million a year. Maybe the Mets say, hey, you know what? We're going to pay 18 and change for 3 years. We can do it for 4. We're not going to go 5. And let's push it up to $20 million a year. And Edwin Diaz signs for 4 years, $20 million a year. That's what I could see happening. Who knows? I'm just surmising here like anybody else, right? Never know exactly what's going to happen in these situations. All right, let's get to section 2 of this. Let's look at the San Francisco Giants in terms of pitching. Did a video last night on Tatsuya Mai that the Giants appear to be out on him. He's a Scott Boras client. And the Giants, frankly, just don't want to spend the money. Now, it's the one area that you got to have. You got to have great starting pitching. It's the only way the Giants can compete. They went out and they've signed Chapman and Adames and Jung-Hoo Lee and traded for Rafi Devers. So you've got all those pieces, and you need a couple more pieces together to do that, right? And you need a couple of more hitters, in my opinion, maybe somebody from the outfield, some contact hitters. And you definitely need starting pitching. And the Giants just are not going to spend the money on 5-6-year deals. And you know what? I understand that. It's frustrating to watch as a fan, and they've got boatloads of money, so money's not an issue. But 6-year deals can go bad. I mean, we all remember the Barry Zito deal, right? And that was a 6 or 7-year deal, whatever that was. The only thing that made that worthwhile was the great game against St. Louis in 2012, where he saved the Giants from being eliminated, and then game 1 in the World Series against Detroit. So that made it all worth it to the fans. Probably not much to the ownership group, because they had to put out all that money. And then, you look at some of the contracts the Giants signed. They gave an extension to Matt Cain. He really wasn't that effective, right? He only pitched really one good season after that contract. In 16, they signed in the offseason after the 2015 season. They went out and signed Jeff Samardzija and Johnny Cueto to longer-term deals. And those worked out great in 2016, but the rest of the contract wasn't all that great. And Buster Posey was actually the catcher on those teams. So I understand that the Giants don't want to get into the long-term contracts. And there are other ways to do this. I can remember in the 24 season, Kansas City Royals, the Royals in the offseason went out and signed a couple of starting pitchers and made the playoffs. And they weren't big name starting pitchers. They weren't aces. They weren't number ones. They were more like number 3s and 4s. But they got the depth. And I think that's what the Giants, the plan is. I've been saying this quite a bit, that the Giants just need to go sign a lot of starting pitchers. So let's take a look at some of the starting pitchers, shall we, and see what's out there on the market. And I'll tell you what I think the Giants are going to look at. Okay, so these are the market values, and you know what? This got messed up. In the meantime, I'm going to have to go back and I'm going to kill this, and I'll talk. I moved this, so I am going to pull this up. I had free agents, and those are not the free agents. Paul Skeens, Tariq Skubal. Let's go in order of these guys that are available, and we'll look at them. All right, so we look at guys like Zach Gallen, right? His market is a 4-year, $74 million deal. Could the Giants go after a Zach Gallen? That would be their top guy, in my opinion, if they go after Zach Gallen. I don't think they will go any further than a Zach Gallen to be their guy, right? Because it's not going to be anyone that is going to be over that big dollar amount, correct? I mean, they pretty much have said so. So Zach Gallen, in fact, I said the other day that I thought the Giants would go after one of 3 guys, that it would be Amai, Ranger Suarez, and the other guy was the big 3 was Framber Valdez. I didn't think they would get those guys. I thought they would get Amai or Suarez. And the third guy is going to be Zach Gallen. That would be the guy that I think they go after. Now we've got 3 starting pitchers that are off the books. All right. We all know about the Dylan Cease deal, 7 years, $210 million, a huge overpay for a guy that's probably a number 3 at best, and sometimes pitches like he's a 4. He's just so erratic, up and down. He pitches a great game, and then you can't get out of the second inning. Cody Ponce signed earlier today with the Toronto Blue Jays. That's a 3-year deal, $30 million, $10 million AAV. And then Alex Manoah just signed a 1-year deal with the Anaheim Angels or Los Angeles Angels, whatever the heck you want to call them, for just under $2 million a year, a 1-year deal. All right. So what does that leave available on the starting pitcher market? Now let's move to that. We'll take a look at some of these guys and we'll see what we think the Giants will go after. Again, this is going to be a guess. All right. Jordan Montgomery, his market value is $2.6 million. Could the Giants take a crack at a lefty? Because they do need lefties. He's a guy that they could take a flyer on if you can get him for that $2.5 million. He looks washed, but you never know. At that price, it's a bargain price. You can always just waive him, right? Nick Martinez, 35-year-old, pitched with the Reds. 14 million, a little over 14 million market value. Maybe on a 1-year deal. Chris Bassett's projected to get a $2-year deal around $31 million. That's a guy the Giants could go after. Giolito, $20 million. I don't think so. Valdez, no. Miles Malokas, small deal, 37-year-old. I mean, we got the geriatric group. I mean, they are looking at Max Scherzer. I think Max Scherzer is a guy they go after on a 1-year deal, 9-10 million tops. He's projected his market 8.9 million. Maybe he gets a friendly team discount and they give him 11 million. Anything over that, it's a huge overpay. Verlander, his market, he got 15 million last year. He's projected to get 7.8 million. I don't think Verlander comes back to the Giants. He's going to be 42.8 years of age at the beginning of the season, almost 43. My goodness. John Gray. No, Zach Gallen, that's a guy I mentioned. He's projected to get a 3-year deal in the neighborhood of 55, 60 million. I could see a Zach Gallen. Okay, I could see that signing. I think the Giants get one bigger name pitcher like a Zach Gallen, and then after that, maybe they go the route of a couple of smaller pitchers. I think the Giants should sign 3 starters, 2 minimum. I would sign 3 and just, lower end deals. Sometimes you never know what can happen. Guys could make it. Tyler Anderson, another lefty, projected to get about 7 million. He's going to be almost 36. Sagano of the Orioles, Japanese pitcher, came over last year. He's projected to get about 6 million, maybe on a 1-year deal. Ranger Suarez, forget it, too high. Michael King, too high. Tyler Mahle, it's a possibility. Steven Matz, another lefty. The guy that I think the Giants might end up signing, because I think they can get him on a 1-year deal, is Merrill Kelly. He's 37, but he's pitched well when he's with the Diamondbacks. He's pitched well in Oracle Park. Merrill Kelly, it's a 1-year deal probably, and he's projected to get 15, 16 million. They may go for a Merrill Kelly on a 1-year deal rather than go for a Zach Gallen for a 3-year deal. Because pitching you can always replace on a year-to-year basis. Plus, you're hoping that some of your younger guys step up, guys like Trevor McDonald and Carson Whisenhunt, Hayden Birdsong for sure. I mean, I kind of like Whisenhunt moving him to the bullpen personally. I think Whisenhunt would be a guy that could be a really good guy in that bullpen, 6th inning type guy, come in and kind of remember Andrew Miller of the Cleveland Guardians. He was phenomenal. I could see Whisenhunt. He can give you that extra inning too. He can go 2 innings, maybe even 2 1/3, 2 2/3, maybe 3 innings if he shuts down all 9 guys he faces. I just don't think Whisenhunt's a guy you want probably coming in facing a batting order more than once. His stuff is, he's got the great changeup, but he doesn't have a great mix of pitches to be a long-term starting pitcher, in my opinion. And the Giants have done some bullpen work, and we'll get to the bullpen as we close this video out. But Griffin Canning's a guy I like with the New York Mets. He's only 29 and a half. He's not going to command a big time contract. His market value is only 4.6 million. I like him. I even like Dustin May because he's still young. He's had 2 Tommy Johns, and that's an issue. But Dustin May, projected salary of 3.8 million. Why not take a flyer on that guy for a year? Adrian Hauser's another guy I like. He could get a 2-year deal around 20 million. Adrian Hauser pitched pretty decently last year. So those are a couple of the guys, or more than a couple, that I could see the Giants looking at. I think the Giants really should tend to look at, ideally, if you're not going to sign, if you're not going to sign I don't know if all those were showing or not. I was trying to show you the names and maybe they weren't showing up on there. I apologize. But I think the Giants should sign at least 2 starters. I would go out and sign 3, maybe even 4 potential starting pitchers that can move to your bullpen. A lot of those guys can shift to the bullpen. And then you can have have guys duel it out in spring training down in Scottsdale and see who the best 5 starters are. And the next guys in line, they could fall into the bullpen. And the bullpen can shape up to be pretty decent, right? You can put together a bullpen. The Giants had an under the radar signing the other day, last week, of all of a sudden I'm forgetting his first name, Henches, and he came from the Cleveland organization. And why am I forgetting his first name? Anyway, Sam, there we go. I was thinking Matt. Okay, Sam Henches. He's a 6'6" lefty with some really good stuff, and he's got a nice fastball and a sinker that plays and gets a lot of ground balls. He was a good pitcher for Cleveland, and missed all of last year with shoulder surgery, had a labrum issue, and then he had some knee surgery here in the offseason. He should be ready to go by spring training, though. So you add a guy like Henches to the bullpen mix, and then you can look at some of the other guys that could be guys that the Giants could fill out. And I don't think Tyler Rogers is a guy the Giants, I think he's going to cost too much. I think the Giants are going to try and keep the money down and get a lot of guys, bulk guys. A closer that could help the Giants, I've really liked Kenley Jansen. I think you can get him on a 1-year deal for 13, 14 million. Maybe you can give Kenley Jansen a 2-year deal with an opt-out. Okay. Kind of like what Ryan Helsley got with the Baltimore Orioles. He got a $28 million deal. Why not go that route with Kenley Jansen and get a real closer who's been a great closer in the big leagues for a long time and had 29 saves, I believe, last year and 30 opportunities, only blew 1 save for the Angels. Pretty good. Emilio Pagan. There's a guy that could be a closer. He's going to be a market value of about $12 million a year. I'm giving you some other names that could fit what the Giants are looking to do. I don't think Robert Suarez is going to be available to the Giants. These big-time closers, they're going to command 3 to 4+ years. I don't think the Giants are interested in doing that. So I could see a Kenley Jansen, Chris Martin. He's an older guy. He would fit the Giants. He's really good, Chris Martin, if he stays healthy. He's a guy that's only going to be about $6-7 million a year, but he is an effective pitcher still. I like Chris Martin. He pitched last year with the Rangers. Hunter Harvey, that's a guy that was really good with the Nationals and has been with the Royals the last year or two, and he has just had some injury issues, but Hunter Harvey's only going to be about $5.5 million. He's a good late inning guy, 7th inning guys, 8th inning guy. Team him up with Ryan Walker, get a closer like Jansen. Giants could fill some holes that way. So we'll see what they do with this. I'm looking here at the free agents to see. Remember old Gregory Santos used to be with the Giants, only 26 years old, free agent, was non-tendered by the Seattle Mariners. Guy's only making, league minimum, $771,000. Maybe you give him a minor league invite. He was with the Giants in the early 20s, came up in the Giants organization, Gregory Santos, and maybe he's still got some life left. He's only 26. Why not take a flyer on guys like that? Looking here further along here, just seeing what might be out there. Some of the relievers are a little bit older. Guys like Ryan Presley is going to be almost 37, but he's a free agent, not going to demand a lot. Some of these guys could be, again, minor league invites. And Shelby Miller, there's a guy that was doing pretty good last year until he got hurt. He was closing with the Arizona Diamondbacks, got traded to the Milwaukee Brewers. His market's only about 1.2 million. Heck, he's 35. Take a flyer on Shelby Miller and see if these guys can, have good years in the bullpen. The Giants just need bodies. They need to get as many as possible. I don't think they're going to spend a ton of money in terms of big time contracts when it comes to starting pitching or the bullpen. So we'll see what the Giants do. But hey, I appreciate you watching this video. Comment below. Tell me your thoughts. Do you think the Giants go big after Edwin Diaz? I don't think they do. Do you think they go big on any of the relievers? Or how about in the starting pitching market? I explained to you that, some of these pitchers they've added in the past that just didn't really pan out, that, we mentioned, Samardzija and Cueto and, of course, Barry Zito, probably the most famous signing that the Giants did back before their World Series championship years. And he was there in 2012. He wasn't even on the roster in 2010 because he was so bad, but he saved the Giants in 2012. But I don't think the Giants want to get caught up in those big time contracts. Hard to blame them, but also as a fan, hard to believe, the Giants are now worth a lot more money than they were back when they took on Zito's contract. They're now worth $4 billion and growing. So this team has the money. We'll see what they do. Give us your comments below. Tell us in the comments section what you think the Giants should do. Give us some players. I'm guessing as much as anyone else, right, guys? We're all in this trying to figure this out. The winter meetings start here in just about 5 days on Sunday, December 7th. And we should get some action. The Giants are going to add pitching. There's no doubt they're going to be adding pitching to this team. The question is, how many starters? I think they need bare minimum of 2, okay? Again, I would sign 3 or 4 guys that have the ability to start, and if they don't start and they make the club opening day lineup, they can be guys in the bullpen. Nothing wrong with having guys. We see it all the time, right? Guys that are starters come in the big time in the World Series and the playoffs when they're needed, and it's a must win. Guys come in. So guys that are older now, they can still come out and pitch. So, and they can pitch in the bullpen, and the Giants need the depth. If guys go down, hey, you got to have the depth. That's been the problem the last couple of years. If you've been watching NorCal Sports Network for a while, and the Giants were doing pretty good last year in the first half of the season, and I'm the one that said the problem's not going to be the hitting in the second half. It's going to be the pitching. Pitching's going to wear out because they don't have the guys with the innings. We knew Landon Roop was not going to be able to be available the whole season. He just didn't have the stamina, the innings pitch built up to go a whole season. And then Birdsong wasn't good. And Robbie Ray tired because he was, coming off of he didn't pitch at all in the 23 season. In the 24 season, he pitched very little and then got hurt. So he hadn't pitched much in a couple of years. So you knew Ray was going to tire out. So get pitching. You got to have, in my opinion, need 8 to 10 starting pitchers, capable starting pitchers. The rest can be bullpen arms. Some can go down to Sacramento. I do like Trevor McDonald as a shot that could really be a guy that steps up for the Giants this year. Maybe Hayden Birdsong. He's got the talent. I think it's why they brought in Justin Message from the Milwaukee Brewers to be the pitching coach. He's used to pitching with young guys. And Frank Anderson, coming from the University of Tennessee, he's a guy I predicted might be on Tony's staff, and the Giants hired him. So we'll see where the Giants go. They could be going young. We'll see. Give us your comments. Thanks for watching. And if you guys would do us a favor, hit that like button. It does help push this video out to more people. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Take care, everybody. We will catch you on the next one.